You want the truth? Meghan Markle, as the famous movie line goes, you can't handle the truth, not even close. But what do I say? Bring it on. So that's right, we have the longest solo interview with the fake Duchess ever. 1 hour and 29 minutes of lies, of distortions, of arrogance. Don't worry, we're not going to make you sit through that. Angela Levin and I have watched it all, and we're going to bring you the lowlights to call out lots of her sham claims. But let's start with that major dig at the British royal family, where Meghan claims she just wishes that people had told the truth about her.
I want to say this to you in the best way, because I wonder if you could rewrite your public narrative from scratch. Is there anything that you would do differently?
Yes, I would ask people to tell the truth.
You're very measured about it. I mean, I feel like, I don't know, I'm such a hothead.
Are you? What's your sign?
I'm a Libra. But I know, and
Libras.
it's like, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a bit, ghetto with it, like a little bit hood. I would just get so angry if I felt like everyone was lying about me all the time. Like, don't you ever feel like just being like, just leave me alone. Like, let me show you. Is there a part of you that ever is just like, just leave me alone?
Peaks and valleys.
Peaks and valleys.
No, I mean, like,
very elegant.
But it's true. Of course, I've gone through those chapters and you do a lot of work. You do a lot of self-work and go, what's the why? It's happening for a reason. And my dear friend Serena, who I'm sure you know.
I love Serena. She's like my girl crush. Talk about successful entrepreneur, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, then I'm going to go and talk about Serena Williams and how brilliant she is.
She said to me,
but look,
she's literally...
I'm going to take that challenge on from you, Markle. You want us to tell the truth? Okay, fine. That's what we've been calling for a long time. Here's the challenge to you. Immediately ask Buckingham Palace to release the bullying investigation into you, which is currently under lock and key at the palace. Remove all of your former staff members from the draconian NDAs that stop them from speaking about your appalling bullying. Oh, and while you're at it, please let us see the birth certificates too. Angela Levin, I mean, the cheek of this woman to claim that it was nothing to do with her own behavior, Angela. Nothing to do with her own behavior. It's all lies.
Yeah, it's very funny, actually. And there's another bit at the end where she said, if talking doesn't help me, I'm going to change my clothes. And I thought to myself, is that why she's done her trekking the other day and made us all feel quite unwell? That she's going to show off and wear things that she would never wear if you were dealing. That's the one with the dealing with the royal family. And she's just, now I'm going to show you. It's really extraordinary because there was every few lines, there's something that you didn't believe. I can't believe that you could actually say that. But there she does. I mean, I don't know. She says that her 2 children sell fruit and veg at the local market.
Oh, yes. And we will get to that, Angela. We will get to that because
but I mean,
we've
that's
got
another
the lowlights.
Did everybody take a photograph?
I know.
I mean,
I know.
what?
I mean, it's lie after lie after lie. But what really interested me is that she's using this awful twerking video, right? The video that we saw before my holiday, that we didn't really want to see, this one. She is admitting that this is all part of her new strategy, and we've learned over the past week that a whole load more staff members have been sacked. And it's all about presenting her, Angela, as authentic. Watch this.
Be authentic. I don't think there's any value either in being so rehearsed and just having your talking points and just saying the thing. No, just talk.
It's just not the time for it. I think that there is an element of where we are in culture right now that, like it or loathe it, we crave authenticity. Like, we want those people that we believe, rightly or wrongly, are telling us the truth.
Yes.
And so I feel like there is no point in having rehearsed lines and a narrative that is like, fully, written out that isn't your own. You have to be authentic.
Just be authentic. Yeah. Did you see my baby mama dance?
I mean, stop it. First of all, can I just tell you the timing of that? We maybe watched it like 20 times yesterday. And I was like, is that her?
Oh my God.
Is that Prince Harry there with the fingers and the, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Meghan and Harry, let's go.
But I think it's,
But that's you, right? Like that's you in a way that we kind of haven't been able to see you before. And I did like a little secret cheer because I was like, well, that's what I kind of want to see from you. Like I want to see that happiness and that honesty and that like, I don't give a fuck.
But
kind
also,
of thing.
by the way, that wasn't yesterday.
No, true.
That was 4 years ago. So it's also a really great reminder that with all the noise or whatever people do, there's still a whole life, a real, authentic, fun life that's happening behind the scenes. I'm just grateful that now being back on social as well, I have a place where I can share it on my own terms.
On your own terms.
Angela, is she really authentic?
Well, I was going to say, she says the authentic about 25 times during this. I think you only do that if you actually feel that you need to tell everybody when it's not really true. You know, why is she trying to say that? And also it's actually, she's such a perfect person that I don't think any of us are authentic, actually. We try our best to be okay, but you know, you're not going to be authentic. And it's nonsense for someone like her, where there is so much evidence. You just look at Harry's face, you see the royal family, they are excellently well behaved. They won't do anything as ghastly as what Meghan has done to them. You know, they've all tried, and yet she actually thinks that she's authentic. She is so much not.
And the thing is, Angela, when you really think about it, right, authenticity when it comes to Meghan Markle is out the window because she acts as if she's some sort of earth mother in these podcasts, whereas we know she's a vicious, ruthless businesswoman who treats her staff like shit. We know that. But look, she does admit here when she's talking about the business that she has had tears over it. But again, I found this really interesting because very, very quickly she pivots onto something else and about how amazing her jam is and how it's winning all of the blind taste tests. But what's so fascinating to me is the psychology behind the fact that she's only had tears about her business, Angela. Not the loss of her family, not the pain of what she's put Harry through, only her business. Watch.
Well, I would say that life is full of surprises. And also that, you know, life is short. And I really believe that no matter what anyone is going through, that if you are able to say that, yes, this is going to pass, or this is amazing and let's really embrace it, that you're ultimately going to have that perspective we talked about earlier. You know that Khalil Gibran book, A Tear and a Smile?
Oh, it's such a good one.
You need both.
It's such a good one.
We'll call your
need
father.
both in this life. And I think the moment that you can recognize that both are going to be true in your life, you can not just be in acceptance of it, you can actually be in gratitude for it. And to see what others might say is, I don't know, Jordan has a great quote, and I'm going to butcher it, but he literally says, like, there are no failures because every time I failed, I was learning something. So you're actually winning because that knowledge is what you carry with you. So I think, yeah, my younger self, gosh, she was my 15-year-old self. She was class president. She was multicultural club president. She was so busy. And yeah, I think my 15-year-old self would be really proud of me today. I do. And that makes me happy. So,
You should be.
thanks.
I have no doubt.
Thanks,
no
Emma.
doubt.
Oh, I mean, this woman, Angela, can I just say, this woman, Emma Greedee, it is important for folk to know, if you've never heard of her, she's a bit like a Jamie Kern-Lima type. She's in with the Kardashians, and she is just simping all over Meghan Markle. There isn't a tough question. There isn't any type of pushback. She lies about how brilliant her business is. But do you really think, Angela, the 15-year-old Meghan Markle would be proud of her, remembering that that 15-year-old was totally besotted by her father, Thomas Markle, and at that point, Angela was being looked after full-time by Thomas Markle when Doria was out of the picture?
Yes, but don't you remember when she had this very grumpy face on several photographs, one by the sea? She was growling at him several times, and she wasn't being helpful at all. And when she met her half sister, she was very rude. I mean, you can see that in photographs. So why she tries to pretend that she was absolutely perfect as a 15-year-old, 15-year-old girl, teenagers are actually not the ideal, very well behaved. They're all frustrated about their lives. They want to be adults and they want to be children. It's very hard. So I think I don't know anyone who's actually said about a 15-year-old that they are perfect, except Meghan.
Oh, of course, because she is totally perfect, little perfect Meghan. And actually, the thing that struck me most about this podcast interview, Angela, is the pretense of being modest is gone. So I want to show you a couple of moments of just out and out arrogance. And you think, oh my goodness, these poor people who have to deal with her all the time. Starting with when she's asked about what she is most proud of in her career. Honestly, her answer will stun you.
What are you most proud of in your career when you think about everything that you've done today?
In my career?
Yeah.
My
in your in your career and your business life, if you like.
Investing in myself. I'd spent so many years since we came over here, really, even prior to that, investing in the success of other women and their companies. And I love being able to do that, as we talked about with fashion. And I loved being able to have a portfolio, female founders. But I do think it takes a little bit of courage to bet on yourself. Yeah. And that's felt really good.
Oh, yes. My proudest decision has been pumping all of my husband's inheritance money into my flop business. I found that hilarious. Then she also gave a real indication, actually, that she ain't liking working with her team. No wonder they've all been sacked, because Meghan Markle is no longer going to listen to anyone else's advice. Watch.
What's something that you valued when you were starting out that you no longer value?
It's not that I no longer value it, but decision by committee. Meaning, when you're like, do you think it's good? 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 Do you like that? Do you think it's good? Mm-hmm. Well, if you start asking everybody all the time, you will be dizzy with the ideas of it. So instead, ask your 2 trusted people, or 3, whatever your handful of your
little committee,
your consigliere is, and then trust yourself.
Angela, the front of this woman, the arrogance of this woman.
Yes. But did you listen and see how many people are following her around? She's got people, her own small team in my office. She's got foundation people. She's got people from Netflix who have one huge team as ever, and another huge team for love from Meghan. And she loves it with them, she says. It's such fun to be part of a team. But actually, if she's there, she won't let them say anything, because she's the only one who's right, and she's the only one who knows what to do. So it's a bit extraordinary. But if you added up everything there, what did she have to do? Very little. Very, very little. And her love of jam is the same thing. She doesn't make them at home. Nearly all of them, except a couple for her friends, go to a big sort of a proper physical, a proper organized area that she has nothing to do with.
I know. It's quite something. By the way, you're getting the full episode of our uncancelled Royal After Show today, but usually every weekday that is usually reserved to subscribers of my Substack. I would absolutely love you to join the party. www.outspoken.live. Substack is a brilliant place. It's a community, and it is a way to protect me from big tech cancellation too. Okay, so then Meghan moved on to talking about imposter syndrome. Now, what's so funny is this host, Emma Greedee, is constantly looking for ways to try and humanize Meghan, and every single time she throws her a bone, Meghan just chucks it right back at her face. And the whole concept of imposter syndrome became quite a major theme. Watch.
Is there any part of you that feels any sense of imposter syndrome? Do you ever sit back and get overwhelmed by how big the opportunity is and then, you know, pedal back from anything that might be?
I don't. I think I have.
Cards.
I think that I've always had a very entrepreneurial spirit, as we talked about, but equally, I enjoy being in a position of having a strong team around me, being able to help guide that team as a whole. And I've also, you know, in the adventures of my life, I have certainly navigated through things that can in some ways feel bigger.
Yeah.
So this for me is just another chapter that I think is full of, you know, I'm a very curious person, new learns. I love learning something new all the time. I don't feel imposter syndrome. I feel like I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be right now.
Oh, I'm really happy.
So you could see Emma's like, oh, okay. Okay. Every other chief executive I speak to does have imposter syndrome. It sort of shows that you've got a little bit of humility. And of course, Meghan Markle, you should have some imposter syndrome because your brand ain't doing well. You know, your jam ain't on the shelves. So Meghan clearly had this ticking over the back of her mind because then she tried to redefine what imposter syndrome actually means.
Nothing is the same because you're never doing it in the same time, in the same culture, with the same people.
Yes. And even if you're making it up as you go along, as you say, which I think true, most people are doing that. Imposter syndrome is when you're posturing as though you know everything. You don't need to posture as though you know everything. It is perfectly okay for me as the founder and the owner of this company to say, sorry, what does that mean?
Yes.
Can you help me understand that? And actually, I think it's a really great posture to take, or a truth rather, to take as a leader, to show that, yes, I know what I know, but I'm also so excited to have people on this team that know more about certain avenues than I do because we're learning from each other. That's
so
not
long as you
imposter
find
syndrome.
the people, right?
You
It's
find
like
great
you just
people.
got to find great people and get out of their way.
And see, again, Emma is trying to make the point to Meghan. No, Meghan, you can't do everything. Get some great people in and get out of the way. Meghan's not taking that advice. And you know what I really love? The tone in her voice changes, doesn't it, when she says, can you help me understand that? And I do just feel sorry for those poor souls who know that the moment that Meghan is asking that question, they are about to get a massive bollocking. And this whole group of conversation ended up, this part about imposter syndrome, with Meghan claiming that she just doesn't care what anyone thinks of her.
Like, I went through my chapter of self-doubt as an auditioning actor and beyond that. And when you're so consumed with what everyone around you thinks of you, that can be a really hard way to live. So I think as I've gotten older, certainly in my 40s and as a mom, you want to set the example for what your children are going to think about themselves. And that you can't have an imposter syndrome around.
No way.
You have to be so authentically the role model and the example of confidence, self-forgiveness, kindness, fun, all of those things. Like, you can't fake that. You want to model that for them. So all of that really shifted in the past 6 years of becoming a mom for me.
I mean, Angela, so much to pick up on here. Can I just make one point? Meghan Markle talking about kindness is exactly the same as Jacinda Ardern talking about kindness. And you notice she talks about self-forgiveness, but not forgiveness, because of course she's refused to forgive her father, her ailing father. But what do you make of this whole thing, Angela, of her being so cocky and confident in terms of like, no, I'm not an imposter. I know exactly what I'm doing. This is where I'm meant to be. It's almost like the real Meghan is coming out a little bit here.
Well, actually, I slightly disagree with you, if I'm
Good.
allowed.
Of course you are allowed.
Emma
We'll fight.
Greedee. I thought Emma Greedee was very good because she kept asking questions that she couldn't bear. And if you look, she's always looking up. She's looking up in the sky. She's looking round as if to say, someone help me because I don't know what to say. That's my view of it. And I think she's, her cheeks were getting redder and redder because I think it was quite stressful for her. And I think the questions put her on a sort of shaky balance. Although she talks absolute rubbish and full of lies, I think that Emma did quite a good thing, that she was calm, she let her get on with it, and so all this rubbish pours out of her mouth. And I think that the whole thing Well, it's far too long, wasn't it? Anyway, I mean, it was well over an hour.
Yeah, 1 hour,
And
29 minutes. But you
she
think,
was
Angela, almost
desperate.
Emma's
She was
giving her
desperate.
enough rope, if you know what I
Yes,
mean.
exactly, exactly. And so and she tripped up so many times. But to say she's kind, I mean, she's absolutely the the least possible woman who can say that. Absolute nonsense. And I think she was gathering words as hard as she could in her mind so that she could say something that would get her through. Because I don't think she could deal with it at all. And all this looking around, it sort of help.
Yeah,
But
interesting. No,
where's she been kind? Where's she been kind to the royal family that spent,
exactly.
millions on her wedding? She just was very rude about it. How do you think she's never been grateful? She's never said
Kind to the
anything.
British
How
public,
about doing,
Angela. She's
how,
derided us all as racists.
yes, but also her curtsy to the Queen. That's kind. I mean, that was the most disgusting thing I've ever seen. And I think the tweaking is also disgusting because if she's supposed to have come from a royal lot, then how dare she show herself like that? And I think she's going to do a lot more of that because she's changing the people that who's been looking after her, different PRs. And, it's going to be a real battle because she's determined to win. Her determination, I'll give her that, is beyond anything I've ever seen before. But she eats herself away to get it done. Absolutely dreadful woman. There
There
we are.
was a news line, believe it or not, out of this interview. But what I love, Angela, is this is what you call in the business purposeful PR spin. It's when a celebrity tries to get ahead of a very negative story themselves, put their own slant on it because they know the reporting is going to be so bad. So we have tracked for a number of weeks now, Angela, haven't we? The complete failure of Meghan's podcast, Confessions of a Female Founder. It has crashed out the charts. It has been just a massive embarrassment given the publicity that she's had. No one is listening to this thing. It was car crash. It was awful. And so Meghan announces in this podcast, completely unprompted, that she is choosing to axe the series herself. She claims there was so much demand for it, but no, Angela, she is taking a step back. Watch this.
You think about the failure rate for first-time entrepreneurs. Does that ever concern you? Have you even let your mind go there?
I do not think about failing. No.
You're not scared of failing.
Is anything actually a failure ultimately? Because you're going to learn from it no matter what happens. But no, I feel confident in what I've been dreaming up for so long. I feel confident in the partner that I have. And I feel really proud of the team that I have. So that's not an option.
It's not an option.
No.
I love that you say that's not an option because there's just such an intense narrative around everything that you do. I can't imagine not being a bit scared. Like I'm always scared when I start something, but nobody's even watching me. Like I get to fail in a corner on my own
With your glass of wine.
Okay, like thank God nobody was watching that. But it's very different for you. And so I'm surprised that you say that.
I'm not saying that there aren't moments where I don't feel scared. Of course you do. But as I've continued to say to myself, and whatever I'm going through, my faith is greater than my fear. I believe in myself. I believe in the team around me. I believe in our potential for success. And is that the same metric that someone else is putting on it? No. For me, it would have been a huge success and not a failure if I was selling my homemade jams at farmers market. And I'd gotten a cottage license. I applied for that in the county of Santa Barbara, where you can literally go
like,
and
yes.
I was like, great. You can make the goods in your home and sell them. That would have been a success for me. So someone else's sense of what that looks like is not necessarily what mine is. And that will continue to grow. But no, I don't see the possibility of failure.
She just doesn't see the possibility of failure, Angela, which is funny, isn't it? Given that virtually everything she has touched has become a failure. But if you're in Meghan Markle's world, I mean, maybe we should all live in this world, Angela. Like I could go and swim a length in the pool and claim I was a gold medalist.
No, but I think she's panicking because she doesn't know what to say. I think it's just tumbling out. It doesn't make any sense. And she says, oh, I love the team that I'm with. She just sacked 6. six highly recommended people who are top of the class. So she does what she says and what she does are very, very far apart. And she just pretends they're not happening. And that we're all stupid that we don't know that she said something that absolutely doesn't make sense.
Yeah, let's just listen to her talking specifically about the reasons behind ending the podcast.
But to be able to be really candid and vulnerable personally about my learns and stumbles along the way, and to then take everyone's advice and mine included and to say, I love that there's so much excitement and desire for another season, but I need to focus on my business.
So you've done, how many episodes did you do?
We did
Only
8 and a
eight.
bonus episode. So Tina Knowles came on to do the last one.
Oh, Tina, that's a
Miss
good
Tina.
one.
Yeah.
That's such a good one.
Matriarch.
Okay, so wait a minute, but this was a decision to say, okay, I'm going to stop this now because you were having like huge success. I mean, I
Yes.
was hearing about that podcast everywhere, and
Yeah.
you've decided I'm going to stop and focus on the business.
Have to.
Nice.
Have to, because at a certain point, I was thinking about this morning.
You're like, this
Say,
is
like,
too much.
Well, people
That's what I
say-
was thinking this morning.
People seem to forget that very rarely do people see everything that's happening behind the scenes. I could show a small glimpse of that. But equally, yes, I wrapped season 1 of my Netflix series. Still had to promote it. Still had to be in the edits for season 2. We were in pre-production of one season while we were doing post-production of the other. It's constant. I just wrapped edits on season 2 of With Love, Meghan last week. So it's still ongoing while also doing a podcast, while also building my business. And at a certain point, the only thing I want spread thin is my jam. Okay. And I think I realized, wow, I'm using this opportunity to share, and I love that, but I also need to use this opportunity to listen. I have very valuable insight coming from women who have been through this before. And if I'm not going to take the cue that we are teaching people, what's the point? So does it mean it won't come back? No, but I would love to bring the show back when I am at a different end of my founder journey, when I've gone through Q4 and say, here are my proof points. Here's this. Wow, what a year it's been. Or even longer than that. I think a different time will be so exciting to be able to compare and contrast. But yeah, I know people want another one. I just made a choice to say, it's a really good time to put all of my energy into the thing that I'm building.
So, Angela, this is when I lost all respect for Emma Greedee, okay? Because no one is demanding this series. She's a businesswoman. She shouldn't sit there point blank lying and saying, this has been a big success when it's literally dropped out the charts. It's been a total disaster. So just like Archetypes, this goes down as another one series flop because Meghan can't commit to a single thing. And do you see what I mean about the spin there, Angela? All of this spin about this was my choice and everyone wanted another series. No, they didn't.
She's in a terrible state, actually, I think. I mean, if you look at her, she's constantly doing like this all over the place. I think she's so nervous that she's actually just saying what the first thing is in her head and sort of trying to make herself look a completely different woman from what she is. I mean, what she said was ridiculous, that she was stopping the tea and the jam because she thought it wasn't fair that they would have to wait for them. Well, what sense is that? What rubbish is that? Get another load and then they'll have it. But she's worried that if another load comes, it'll all go very, very quickly. So she can't do that. That's ridiculous. And also that she decides she's going to be worldwide. She's going to be so wonderful. Did you read that? Did you hear that bit? Without any sort of explanation. Or
We're going to
anything.
come to that later, actually.
Okay, sorry,
but
sorry.
no, you're right to point out, though, Angela, the fact that there is no strategy here, and the strategy just seems to be blind arrogance.
Gobble, 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 gobble.
And it's easy to do, isn't it, when it's not your cash? It's
When you
easy to
panic.
do when you're relying on your husband's
Yes,
tens
but
of
it's a
millions of
panic.
dollars.
She's speaking like a panic. It's a real actually very fast, very nonsensical, and just desperate that she gives a good impression because she made a very bad one last time. And so she's trying to get better than that. But Emma's very calm. She's not jumping up and down. And I think she's getting more and more hysterical, really. I mean, when you're talking to somebody like that, you look at them, don't you? You're not sort of, oh, sort of help me, look out. You know, it's just a strange way of
Yeah, there's
behaving.
blind confidence, isn't there? There's blind confidence, but no actual engagement. And what's hilarious, and I see, the thing is, I think Emma Greedee, even though she's British, is doing that American thing because she's very American type person now of just throwing out constant compliments. But in just 1 minute, Angela, I want to show you what happens when Meghan compares herself to Martha Stewart, who can't stand her,
I know.
and
Well,
Gwyneth Paltrow. It's quite something. So don't go anywhere because we'll bring you that in just 1 minute. But first, if you're anything like me, you have spent so much time trying to find the perfect skincare treatments for your face, only to realize you've been neglecting this part of your body, the skin on your neck. And as I've got older, especially when I've been out in the sun on holiday, I've noticed that is a massive oversight because the neck is on display all the time, yet so many folk treat it as an afterthought in their routine. Now, I fell into that trap, and so many women in the Outspoken audience will know that the skin on your neck is thinner, more delicate, and less oily than facial skin, which means it requires specialized care. So that's why I was completely blown away when I received my Go Pure Tighten and Lift Neck Cream, a product which is transforming the necks of women and some men like me all across the globe. So many of you have spoken to me about this brilliant product. I mean, it is gorgeous, actually. I saw a noticeable difference within weeks. I absolutely love the scent. I love the smoothness of it. I love the packaging. Seriously, it's just a joy to use every single day. And it can actually become a game changer within weeks. Because before I tell you about that, actually, let me just tell you about the discount first, because we've got a great discount today. Outspoken viewers and listeners get 25% off Go Pure using the code DAN, D-A-N, at checkout. Just head to gopurebeauty.com/Dan, use the code DAN, and you're all set. But Go Pure's proprietary firming complex is designed to visibly firm and smooth the skin on your neck and chest in as little as 4 to 8 weeks. In a consumer study, 100% of users said their skin looked more supple and 97% noticed a firmer appearance. Indeed, Go Pure's full line of science-backed skin and body care have delivered for over 100,000 real women with real results. It's dermatologist recommended, cruelty-free, plus with over 1 million gels sold. I don't really think we can call this a beauty secret anymore because so many people are feeling the incredible benefits. So tighten, lift, and restore elasticity in your neck because your skincare routine shouldn't stop at your jawline. For a limited time, Outspoken viewers and listeners get 25% off Go Pure using the code DAN, that's D-A-N, at checkout. Just head to gopurebeauty.com/Dan. Use the code DAN and you're all set. And by the way, after you buy, do me a favor. When they ask where you heard about Go Pure, please tell them that it was after watching this episode of Outspoken. But now, back to the show. So, Meghan Markle really genuinely does believe. She genuinely does believe, after this flop business, Angela Levin, that she is now on the same level as the doyens of lifestyle brands, Martha Stewart and Gwyneth Paltrow. Like, when Emma Greedee asked this question, I think there was one response. It should have been, she should show some humility. You know, I'm not even close. But the thing is, humility and Meghan Markle just don't go hand in hand. Watch.
Comparisons right now, right? It's like people are saying you're the next Martha Stewart, you're the next Gwyneth Paltrow. So 2 questions. How do you feel about that? But also, what's going to set this brand apart? Because you're in a very, very different time right now. It's a different culture. I think consumers are super, super wise. So, you know, I want to ask you those 2 things. How do you feel about it?
I think that's very flattering. Those are incredibly successful businesswomen. So I don't take that lightly. That means a lot if there's any comparison made in that regard.
There's not.
And I also think it was really important to me. I remember where I come from, right? So I knew that I wanted things to be reflected in the same way that I put an outfit together for years, high-low. I knew I wanted this brand to be masstige, and to come out of the gate with something luxury didn't make sense to me. So the price point itself, with nearly everything being under $20, was key. I think that's a differentiator. never sacrificing on quality, being engaging in a customer service manner, I think is really important. But also, you know, the show reflects the spirit of what I ultimately want to put out in the world. And though they're not the same thing, and by design, look, the show and the brand are not named the same thing.
Yeah. Smart, by the way.
No, they're just not. They complement each other. They can talk in the same conversation, but they are not the same. And so knowing that I have a vehicle to be able to share the things that I love to do, and then a place where you can go and buy them if you don't want to necessarily make them on your own, feels like a very smart way to do the full and complete storytelling of what I'm after. So, you know, I feel flattered by the comparisons, and I feel excited that I'm sharing things that are important to me and how I would do things in my own home, and that I hope people translate that to theirs.
I mean, lots of mumbo jumbo there, Angela, but the point is she's no Gwyneth Paltrow. She's no Martha Stewart, because if you think about Martha Stewart, she's just a walking, talking brand. If you think about Gwyneth Paltrow, it's all about goop. With Meghan, this was American Riviera Orchard. Then all of a sudden it wasn't. Then it was With Love Meghan. Now it's As Ever. When the show launched, there was no product on sale anyway. To try and present this as a success story, to me, it just shows how delusional Meghan believes that we are, how stupid she believes we are. We're not buying this.
I agree with that. I mean, she does. She thinks everybody's stupid, and she's got it right. She can, you know, make us look foolish. But when she says that she wanted to bring out things into the world, it's as if she's actually going to save us. This is some middle-aged woman who wants to sell a few things that you could eat or drink, which is reasonably packaged, and also tell lots of her friends how marvelous she is, and that she's not the least bit interested in what they're saying. This is not some special sort of religious thing that she's going to put out into the world, that she's going to change the world because we're going to have different sort of jam. I mean, it is beyond belief, isn't it? Absolutely beyond belief. Why can she say that? You know, if you're making something like that, you're making it for someone to eat or to try something different, but it's nothing to do with the world. She's not the sort of person who can actually move and help and the world, but she thinks she does. That's a very keen sentence on her wanting to be head of the world. And this, I think, goes back to the royal family when she was furious that she didn't know that she would be next in line to the late Queen Elizabeth, and she threw a few tantrums. Harry was trying to calm her down and spoke to his mother, can you get her in there? I mean, she's marvellous. She's much better than anyone else because she's made herself, you see. And she wants to be head of the world. Now, this is something that she's still hanging on to 4 years or 5 years later when she left the UK and came out to America. But it is just really crazy.
Yeah, and you get an insight, Angela, into why she was so impossible to work with when she was in the royal family. And I actually feel a little bit sorry for the team at Netflix. I mean, I don't feel sorry for Ted Sarandos, the chief executive of Netflix, who has engineered this whole insane arrangement. But during this interview, Meghan actually is so craven in terms of that relationship. Rather than thanking them and saying it's a collaboration, they have saved me. You know, I was axed by Spotify. Everything else failed. Netflix have saved me despite a succession of flops. There's instead this real front of Meghan making it clear that this is her way or the highway. And she claims that's even written into her contract. Watch.
Yeah. And where are the lines? Like, what are you doing versus what are they doing? Because I imagine, especially when it's something that's so close to your heart and something that you clearly take a lot of pride in, how are you able to make sure that the product is what you want it to be, the brand is what you want it to be? Because there's a lot of compromise when it comes to partnerships. And I say this to founders all the time, right? When you give something, you have to imagine that something's coming back. And so what does that partnership actually look like right now?
Well, I think at the end of the day, what I appreciate is in the contract, they understand that this is my vision. It's my vision. And also the success of the brand, I believe, is rooted in the fact that you can feel when I am involved in something. And so because I have been in this state of ideation of what I wanted to have as an offering for so long, the fact that they trust my final judgment is great on what I want to put out there.
I mean, it's also insane. It's insane that you're trusting her judgment to hit Sandals. This is the problem, though. Netflix has money to waste. And as Angela mentioned earlier, Meghan also reveals that she's now taking the brand global.
Appliance is different globally when we get into that market, which we will.
You're going global.
How can we not?
I mean, how can you not?
Yeah, but it's the spirit of sharing. I don't want to just share it here. I want to share
and it's
it.
better for the P&L.
We're happy.
Well, there is that, Meghan.
Yes, that's true. And in the spirit of sharing. But I think, look, at the end of the day, if I had gone into beauty, for example, and I have a lot of...
Was that a consideration at any point for you?
It was definitely something that people were asking me to get involved with. I mean, in these past
Did you
years...
have any inclination? Were you like, this could be fun?
I think it can be fun.
Yeah.
And I think there'll be a time for that. I think there'll certainly be a time for fashion. You and I could talk about that later. But I think, ultimately, I wanted to do what felt authentic, but I also recognize that, yes, there are variables that you don't have to think about.
Oh, Angela, I mean, I'm more than happy without her jam in the United Kingdom. Thank you very much.
How can you manage? How can you manage?
I'll be
But this
fine.
whole thing that, my vision, when she's lost each time, it's not worked. It's no good. Nothing she's done is any good. So how can she say everybody understands my vision and they can feel it? This is a very sort of strange comment to make, isn't it? That people are so wary of her, that she has a sort of mysterious lamp around her that she's actually will lighten up everything she's saying. I mean, it's most peculiar. This is very revealing, actually, that she's ridiculous, that she thinks of herself so highly that everybody has to understand that she's the one who's making the choice because she is brilliant. She's the one who's going to save the world with her jam and other means of I don't know what other means she's got. Not very much.
Well, we
she is
know
very
actually,
special.
Angela, what's coming, don't we? We know what's coming, and it is the pimping out of the children. This is the next big focus. So we saw it over the weekend. I was away, but we saw it over the weekend with the Father's Day Instagram video. Now, you'll see here, Angela, this was the closest that she's come to yet in terms of going back to full reveals of the faces of Prince Archie and Princess Lilibet. There are so many discrepancies, by the way, in this video in terms of how they look. But it's very, very clear that she does, and I'll play you something that backs up what I'm about to say in just a moment, Angela, but it's very, very clear that she sees these two children not as little people who need to be protected, but as money makers, which is so grim. But it's sort of the Kardashian, Beckham celebrity way of being these days. I hate it. I hate it.
So do I. And I think it's very dreadful because if you can do something and you put your children in to do the same thing when they are older, past their teenage years, that actually they find that they're hopeless. They don't know how to do it.
Yes.
They don't want to do
I mean,
it.
look at
What
Justin
else can
Bieber
they
right
do?
now. Look at Britney Spears right now. There's a reason why it's very important that you don't become famous, in my opinion, until you're over 18, because they say, Angela, that when you become famous, your brain stays at that level. And that's why Catherine and William, for example, have been so careful in terms of the protection of their children. But in this interview, Meghan admits that she's annoyed that her children's clothing are helping other brands and that she's not getting the affiliate sales back as a result, which is just such a bizarre thing to even think about, let alone put out into the world. Watch this.
You get comfortable, basically.
You get comfortable.
You
You
get
have to be an
comfortable.
acceptance of what is.
Yeah, no, completely. But I also think it's really amazing that you can participate in that now, because after a while it can, I think it's wonderful and it's great that everybody can gain from it. But I do think that there is a time and a place in your life where you need to have some skin in the game. You need to have a piece of that for yourself.
Yes. And I think what was so wild, maybe the surprise came in when anything that my children were wearing started to get monetized and affiliate sales and part of headlines and things. That's where it became a little uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when it comes from a place of love and excitement, very, very different.
It's very different.
Yeah, then you can be happy about it and say, of course, have the same dress that Lily has. It's when it comes from a different side. But that's true of most things in life.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Go, Angela.
Yeah, but she did the same thing to Princess Charlotte, didn't she? She came out with the little dress that she's worn, and that's what little George had worn as well. So she doesn't consider anybody else. What she's doing, which is so hateful, is what she's complaining. It was what she did about the other royals, and actually it is absolutely disgusting when you think you have the power to make other people discomfort, but nobody's allowed to do that to you. That was her first thing.
Totally. You're really right to point out. I'd forgotten she did that with the children of Catherine and William, which was so disgusting. Yeah. But what's so odd for me is it's like, oh my goodness, you're already thinking about making money off your kids' clothes. And it's also so telling because, lots of people are saying, Angela, that she very much has her favorites, and her favorite is Charlotte, and her favorite is Lily, and she mentions Lily rather than Archie, which I think is quite telling as well. She clearly thinks there's more money to be made out of her daughter rather than her son. Also incredibly grim. But this podcast host, Emma Greedee, does ask her about how she deals with the issue of finances and money with her children. And this is the part, Angela, that you referenced earlier, where she claims that the Sussexes have been, just going down to the local farmers market. Yeah, right. Okay, watch this.
Do you have, your kids are really little, mine are a bit older. Do you have conversations with your kids about money? Like, how are you even beginning to think about that type of thing?
Well, we sometimes do a little farmer's market stand.
Nice.
So we have...
That's so American. I love that idea. Like a little lemonade stand just makes me feel like that is like perfect Americana in Montecito with a farm stand.
But
like,
we do...
Beautiful.
We grow a lot of veggies, and part of what I want them...
Go and sell these.
Part of what I want them to learn is, and gardening is really, really so great for children because it teaches them patience, teaches them to value and appreciate their food. So you start from seed and you watch it grow and they wait. But with that, it's like, now do you want to sell your harvest? And do you want to share it with our community? And also, what do you want to do with those funds once you have them? So really starting to understand, as they're learning counting and numbers and all of those things, that there's a cost and a price for things.
Yes. And
I think that's key for children to understand that, especially children who are very lucky to have a home that has privilege. You need to know that, just like manners, and taking care of the things around you, there is a value on things. And in our life, for my husband and I, it's really important that they understand the value of things.
She was getting a bit snippy there, wasn't she, Angela, at Emma interrupting her? She didn't like the whole jokey side of it. This is very serious, Angela, what Meghan's doing.
And do you know, she just said my husband. She said it 3 times in the hour. My husband. Nothing, but he was actually in half a sentence. He didn't actually have any part of it.
No, she's not even calling him H during this interview. You're so right. And it's the possessive. It's always the possessive, isn't it? My husband, not H. Exactly. There was one other part where she mentioned date nights, but she didn't mention his name.
That's right. She makes time for date. It's so difficult for her because she's so busy all the time doing this program and that program.
Yeah, unlike her loser husband who has no job now. That's pretty much what she's saying.
She has to find time for the children and also for date time with her husband.
No, it's very interesting. Very, very good point. Now, Angela,
it's just if it's sort of just on the list, it's not saying, I can't wait till I'm with him and we have a lovely time.
No, it's like tick it off.
Yeah, exactly.
Take it off. But no, he is very much absent, actually, from this podcast, which I found interesting, given that he's usually the first thing that she uses when she
Doesn't
needs
need him
some
anymore.
clout. Yeah, that's what it feels like. Now, Angela, I mentioned earlier that there's some delusion in this podcast. There's some real delusion. And this one I just found funny. I found it really funny. I mean, because as ever's been a disaster, right? This woman sold about 500 jars of jam or whatever. But she's now talking about the fact that she believes that she's going to be a heritage brand, Angela. So she's like the new Fortnum and Mason. We're going to see Meghan Markle as ever around in 100 years. And it's because she's just so not trend driven, apparently. Watch this.
You're really proud of.
Yes, incredibly proud of. And also when you're not trying to be trend driven, there's a rush to jump on a trend. There is no rush if you're working towards something that could ultimately and hopefully become a heritage brand.
Yes.
When you're looking for what is like my personal aesthetic, I find it to be classic, timeless. There is a reason that I'm sure there was puff sleeves were cool and trendy for a moment. I didn't catch that trend. I wasn't doing that.
You were still in your white button down.
I was still in my crisp white button down and jeans. And so, when I look at the brand through that same lens, I think it's really important to say then there isn't the same sense of urgency and rush because you're not trying to meet a moment. You're trying to meet something that can be evergreen.
Oh, Angela, she does think a lot of herself, doesn't she?
It's unbelievable, isn't it? It's completely unbelievable. But the thing was, there again, she didn't want anyone else speaking. She didn't want Emma to say something, cut in at half a sentence because she's had enough now. She's absolutely slowly only contacting on herself, She doesn't want the woman to say anything. She's had enough of it because she's asking questions that she's actually fed up with. That's what I think. Now don't have to explain this. You should know what I'm like now. I'm just amazing, absolutely amazing. I can do everything. I'm much better than everybody else. And so don't keep on grilling me.
Yes, indeed. And Meghan, by this point, wasn't liking Emma's open-ended questions where she had to think. I mean, there's one I didn't cut, Angela, because she almost went on for too long. But she simply, when she was asked who was someone who she looked up to, someone who she idolized, she would not name one human being. And I thought, wow, that's so telling. She doesn't feel confident anymore to actually give credit to anyone else. Then she was asked, Angela, what she has learned about herself.
What's the most surprising thing that you've learned about yourself as you've been, in this brand building moment of your life?
That I can bounce back pretty easily. Because you can have the best laid plans for your brand. And if you are too attached to it, when you do have to pivot, that can be crushing. And to learn that, as I was saying earlier, it's a dance. Okay, well, let's take a minute, get our footing and dance over here.
Yeah.
Let's twirl over there. So I think similar to what you're saying about men in business, being able to find the playfulness and joy in it, even though the stakes are high.
Yes.
Just really try to have fun in all of it.
It's a great muscle to try and train yourself, to get there.
Yeah, to be playful in it.
Yeah.
Playfulness and joy, Meghan. Does that also count towards the staff members who you bullied so badly that a couple of them ended up in rehab? And then finally, what would she tell her younger self?
Taking things personally. A lot of them
That's a
talk
big
about
one.
that.
Do you do that?
Taking things personally? Yeah, of course. I'm human. And that can be really hard. So you can do all the practices and things that you want to do, but at the end of the day, you're still human. You're still going to cry. You're still going to take something to heart, especially if you've poured so much of yourself into it.
Yeah.
When I want the jam spread thin, I mean spread thin on toast.
Yes.
Right? I want
that gag.
everything that I'm thinking about that I have poured my heart and soul into. It's not just jam. Could I just go and make a preserve somewhere and stick my name on it? Of course. not what I wanted
That's
to
not
do. So I loved that it was winning all these blind taste tests. And I loved that people loved it. Oh, I was making that in my kitchen. That's how you'd feel if you're at my house. Thank you. It works. And so if there's some hiccup along the way that doesn't land in the same way, even like in a small internal team on how it's tracking, I go, well, okay, whew, all right. I was really excited about it, but let's think about how we can make this something that really works at scale, because I don't want this to be a niche product line. But yes, taking things personally is a human reaction.
Angela, I don't see much humanity there, do you?
No, there isn't any humanity. And actually, it's totally and utterly ridiculous to compare it with jam. You know, it's just that she's talking about important things within your life, but referring it to jam. It's a very odd way of thinking, actually. And how can she, in fact, that she should have been able to get very, very upset that the jam was sold out, when some people say it was 10 things, some people say it was 55 or 45, but it wasn't masses because they didn't provide masses of it. But then the whole thing has fallen apart very, very quickly. So isn't she upset about that? I mean, I think that's something that is actually sad if you're trying to do something for the first time. But she seems to do it as if it's some mystery and that she's going to carry on and she'll make it all okay. You know, where's my wand? And I'll absolutely bring back good luck. But she's not doing that, but she keeps on talking about jam as if it's a treasure and it's very important and very expensive, but it's nothing, is it? It's absolutely nothing. And the King, Charles, sells it for much less and is apparently much better, and he gives the money to charity. But, you know, this is what she's doing, and she's obsessed with something. And I think she is somebody who does get obsessed, and she won't let go until she works out a way that she wants. But she won't listen to anybody else. All these umpteen people who are helping her and looking after her don't have a chance to do anything. There they are at, yes, lovely.
And wasn't it lovely, Angela? Wasn't it lovely? Because, of course, I've been off for a week. So we were in pre-records because I had some news of my own, Angela. I went to Barbados and ended up, well, it was me who popped the question, but I've ended up engaged. It was planned, don't worry, to Alan, the love of my life. There we were together, and it was very beautiful, Angela. We were on the water, and oh my goodness, it was, I still actually can't believe it happened, you know?
I'm very happy for you. It's lovely. He's lovely, you're lovely, and I think it'll work brilliantly. Really, really nice.
Thank you so much. There we are. So no, we had a really wonderful time. And what I did, because it's a bit of pressure, isn't it? It's a bit of pressure because you know that it's that one moment or one of those moments in your life that you're only going to allow to happen once, right? If everything goes to plan, which it certainly will be with me. So you have to get it right in this one moment. And when you're there, it's like, oh my goodness, so much could actually go wrong. Like it was the rainy season in Barbados. What if it had poured down at that moment? But it didn't. It was absolutely perfect. And they gave me a glass of champagne when I got to the room. And I did, Alan doesn't drink. So well, let me be honest, Angela, I pretty much had the bottle. I had the whole bottle because I was like, I think this is just one of those moments where I need to just slightly chill out. But it worked perfectly. It actually worked perfectly. And I was so worried that maybe he would know because I'd had to like get the ring and take the ring in my bag on the plane, and I'd been hiding it at home. But he claims he didn't. But I did that on the first night so that then we could relax the rest of the week.
Oh, that's a good idea. Yeah. But your whole life can change, can't it? Now,
in one moment.
Yes, in one moment. And it's a marvelous moment.
No, it was.
So emotional. It's lovely.
Thank you, Angela.
It's really lovely.
No, it was really, and you were a great inspiration, actually, because you were very long married, of course. And I wanted to make sure, you know, that I'd found my soulmate, and I absolutely have. So I guess engaged at 42 too. It's quite old, isn't it? It's quite old, but I
No,
think it's better to do it at the
case.
right time.
It's a case of finding the right person, isn't it, when you're ready? And you've been together for 5 years, haven't you now?
Yeah, 5
And
years.
so you've got a chance to really get to know someone, and you're very nice together, and it's perfect. So,
Yes.
I wish you much happiness, both of you. Please stay loud, and I wish him equal.
Thank you,
happiness
Angela.
as you.
Thank you so much. But I've missed you over the past week, and my goodness, we're
I've
straight
missed
back
you.
into it. But we will talk later in the week, of course. That is Angela Levin,
Yes.
our Royal Mastermind. And if you are watching on YouTube today, you have actually had the full, souped up, uncancelled after show, which is usually only available first and on demand to our subscribers on Substack. Please do subscribe if you can. www.outspoken.live. We promise to bring you the royal exclusives that the royal rota are just way too scared to touch these days. Plus, Substack is a free speech platform which also protects me against big tech cancellations. Sign up at www.outspoken.live. But it is so great to be back with you. Thank you so much for watching Dan Wootton Outspoken. Please click on my face just to the bottom left to subscribe to this brand new independent news source and turn on the notification bell so you'll be alerted to our brand new live shows, uncancelled interviews, and special royal episodes. Outspoken is also now available as a podcast, so you can listen to the show every weekday on the go, wherever you are.